Hey guys, Trevor with Shadow Systems, and I have Lawrence as well. So Lawrence is a common fixture in our discussions about products, and he has been particularly a part of the suppressor conversation. So Lawrence is a suppressor enthusiast, are you not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, he is. And in fact, his knowledge is pretty extensive, and so as we were talking about this project, he project managed a lot of it, and we sort of settled on the design criteria together. And so I want to talk a little bit about the HS923 in more detail, and just some of the elements of the design that are maybe a little unique or different. So I guess first, tell us kind of the market landscape. What are people putting on guns? What are some of the good things and bad things about that? I guess, what else is out there?
You know, with the NFA game, it's kind of unique in that you have to pay a $200 tax to the government, wait months to exercise, your right to have a suppressor on a handgun.
Right.
So it involves a lot more research than most people typically put into a purchase.
That's true.
It's a lifetime purchase.
Yeah, and you're waiting, so you just watch videos about it while you wait.
Absolutely. So modularity is something a lot of people want, because if they're going to wait those months, if they're going to pay that $200 tax stamp, they want something that they can use in the widest array of circumstances.
Right. What are the problems with that, though?
When you go modular, if you try to make it for too many calibers or different sizes, you get bigger diameters, which interferes with your sight picture.
Yep.
You get heavier cans, and heavy cans on any sort of tilting action pistol impedes reliability.
Exactly, and so that's one of the things that I want to touch on primarily as we go through the design of our suppressor. So we get a lot of customer service calls related to suppressor reliability, and almost invariably it's some big 45 can, or it's an all steel construction can that's also rated for 300 blackout or something, and there's just not a lot of energy in a 9mm relative to some of those other calibers. And so the recoil springs, as an example, they only have the force sufficient to close a 9mm sight under normal circumstances. And so what happens is people put larger, heavier cans on these guns because, again, they paid their $200 and they want to get the maximum value, and I get that, but they can start to run into some other issues. Now, this is when somebody chimes in and says, well, I run a heavy this or I use that and I don't have problems, and I get it, but as a general rule, a dedicated 9mm can is going to run better on a 9mm handgun.
Absolutely.
And so that's the route we went down. So tell us a little bit about the construction of the can, and I'll kind of take it apart as we go.
All right. So our can starts with a titanium blast baffle. That's what takes all the hot gases fresh out of the muzzle and takes the brunt of that force.
Right. So for durability. That is a durability decision.
Absolutely. And then forward of that, we have aluminum. Aluminum is very light. It's very good at doing its job.
So yeah, we use a 7075 aluminum construction for most of the can, and then we have a titanium blast baffle in the back. So the advantage of the 7075 aluminum construction is that it is very strong and it is very lightweight. So as we went through this exercise and decided how to construct the can, we did choose to do aluminum for the reasons described before. It was all about a super lightweight construction that we knew would run well on a 9mm handgun. And so that's what the baffles are, but they have the protection of a titanium blast baffle. And then the baffle construction, so it's a K baffle. Tell us a little about baffles.
There's a lot of baffles. There's a lot of different technologies out there. We found K baffles are very good at suppression as well as keeping minimal POI shift.
Yep, and there's also very, very strong. So this is a baffle technology that's been around for a long time, but works extremely well. I want to highlight one other thing that might surprise some people. We did decide to go with a sealed can. Okay, so certainly you can take the piston off and clean it. You can take the front end section off or the end cap off and clean a little bit. But for the baffled sections, we chose to do a sealed can for a couple reasons. As you get toward removable baffles, sometimes lightweight aluminum baffles can be more problematic. So a lot of the user serviceable baffle sections are steel baffles, which we really didn't want to do. The other thing is, for a 9mm caliber, folks, you can do a lifetime of shooting on one of these cans before you need to take the baffles apart or clean them. So we are more than happy to service your can if it ever gets to that point, but cans tend to run better dirty anyway, and the whole baffle cleaning thing, if we're for 22, I think it makes sense.
Absolutely.
For a 9mm, I think it's more of a myth, personally. The can gets a little bigger because you have to have the tolerances to fit these parts together and take them apart. The can probably gets heavier, and more often than not, from the people that I've spoken to, very experienced people, what do people do with those baffles?
If you misalign them even just one click, you can get a baffle strike.
Yeah, the people put them in wrong. There's issues. There's trade-offs to a design that's user disassemblable, so we chose not to do that. Now, some people are going to say, well, then you can't clean it or whatever. I have a can here that we shot at least 1,000 rounds on yesterday. Okay, it's a 9mm can. What's our HS923 can. All of this stuff is filthy. I agree. We need to be able to take it apart and clean it, so we can. Okay. The front section of the can screws off, and things get kind of interesting up there. So you see all that gunk that's on there, right? Most of that stuff just kind of wipes off. It's really not that bad. A little bit of a toothbrush in there, and it's going to come out. You look at that baffle, I mean, it's basically pristine, okay? So this is after a really heavy firing schedule when the guns were already dirty, in the rain. And I mean, we're not seeing any real degradation in performance. You don't need to clean a can the way you clean a handgun because they don't have moving parts except in the back, and that's what you do clean, right? Okay, talk to me a little bit about the end cap design.
So, with a lot of other suppressor manufacturers, you've got end cap tools that have spokes or special wrenches.
Yeah.
Most of them you can't even go to Home Depot and get. Like it's a specialty tool, and if you leave it behind in your range bag and you take a different range bag, or you leave it on your tool chest, you're not changing the configuration.
Right.
So we designed this so that after you're done with your suppressor, you can take it off, unthread it, make sure your gun is clear. Take your slide off, and then we've got two different size notches. One is for CRs, and the other is for all of our other firearms. Lines up right there, so you twist it off. Gives you a lot more leverage.
Right, so it's just an end cap wrench for maintenance, or if you're converting from a short configuration to a long configuration or vice versa. This is not for installing the can. Just to be clear, when you install a can, any can, you just hand tightening it. You can get tremendous leverage with just your hand around the body of the can. So that's all that's needed, okay? All right, so we have a bronze piston that's a 1/2 by 28. We also do, obviously, the other pistons as well. It's going to be available with the front section is included, to be clear, so you basically get two suppressors in one. We chose to do that because we were sort of caught between, do we want to have a large can that's very, very quiet, like movie quiet, or do we want to have a short can that's a little less unwieldy? And we chose to give you both. So it comes with both sections. Of course, the end cap piston, ready to go, optimized for a Shadow Systems pistol. Price point, so the price point in the market is going to be around $699. So it's a sub $700 can that comes with the piston and body you need for your pistol, plus the modularity of a front baffle section and a titanium blast baffle for durability. It's a pretty good value can. So we're a suppressor maker now. Try them out. Go get one.